Vietnam is not as cheap as it appears on the surface. Many people here work every day, yet still struggle to lead a normal life. People in Vietnam make a living in many different ways. Some work in offices or factories. Others sell food, drive for a living, farm, run small businesses, or work freelance jobs. In the first quarter of 2025, the average monthly wage of Vietnamese employees was around 8.3 million dong, about $319. However, that figure serves only as a reference.
I work every day too, juggling a few different jobs, managing the studio's social media page, answering customers online, and helping my mom sell rice meals. But on $200 a month, I had to live as frugally as possible.
Even spending just 10,000 Vietnamese dong, about 40 cents, can make me stop and think twice.
And I don't think I'm the only young person living this kind of lifestyle.
In Vietnam, many young people work as ride-hailing drivers, delivery workers, salespeople, or take on temporary jobs, even after graduating from university. These jobs can provide an income, but they often come without the stability and benefits of formal employment. For many, after accounting for taxes and health insurance, take-home pay can be around 8 million VND, roughly $300, or even less, depending on the job and location. The real problem isn't just low wages. It's what happens when the income suddenly disappears. In recent years, many young workers have faced layoffs and unstable employment as businesses struggle to survive, while AI is rapidly replacing some tasks that once required human workers. AI can design a poster in seconds. It can write content, generate ideas, program software, and answer questions, sometimes for almost nothing. But when a worker loses their income, life doesn't become free. Food still costs money. Rent still has to be paid. Electricity still runs. Fuel still costs money. Health insurance still needs to be covered. Your income can fall to zero, but your expenses don't. And that's when being unemployed becomes truly frightening. However, when you visit Vietnam, it may not look poor or even particularly cheap. The streets are busy and relatively clean. The food is delicious and affordable. Transportation is convenient, and many places feel safe. A person might wear nice clothes, own a good phone, go out for coffee with friends. You can't look at someone and know how much they're struggling behind the scenes. Because after paying rent, electricity, water, food, fuel, and other basic expenses, there may be very little left. Someone can look completely fine on the outside and still be worrying about money every single day. For many young people, retirement feels like a question with no clear answer. We work, we contribute to social insurance, and we hope that one day it will be enough to support us when we are too old to work. But decades from now, will it really be enough? Vietnamese culture traditionally places a strong responsibility on children to care for their parents. But what happens when the children themselves are struggling to make ends meet? That's why even today, some elderly people in their 70s and 80s are still working. Not because they want to, but because they can't afford not to. And this raises a difficult question for my generation. Will we be able to retire peacefully, or will we still have to work when we're old? If you earn dollars or euros, Vietnam can look incredibly cheap. When you visit Vietnam, you can easily find meals for just a few dollars. A bowl of pho or a pho breakfast might cost you $30 to $50. But in Vietnam, you can have a filling breakfast with just a $1 banh mi or a $2 bowl of beef pho, or even for less. A cup of Vietnamese coffee costs only about 50 cents, even cheaper than a bottle of water in some countries. That's one of the reasons Vietnam has become such a popular travel destination. I understand why many foreigners feel that Vietnam is very cheap, but traveling in Vietnam and living in Vietnam are two completely different things. Imagine earning $100 a day, but $25 is gone just for breakfast, $25 for rent, $10 for gas, and another $30 for your other meals. Then come the weddings, birthdays, family events, and unexpected expenses. Your income may sound like a lot, but by the end of the day, there's barely anything left. That is the life of low-income people. If they don't have a garage, some car owners simply find a quiet spot along the road where they won't get in anyone's way. They cover the car with a $20 to $30 tarp and leave it there. From the outside, Vietnam is developing very quickly. Big cities have skyscrapers, shopping malls, expensive restaurants, and modern neighborhoods. Big cities have skyscrapers, shopping malls, expensive restaurants, and modern neighborhoods. Farmers still start working early in the morning. Women sell food from early morning until noon. Delivery riders spend the whole day riding through the heat and rain. And I myself became more frugal after facing a major setback. Since coming back to my hometown, I don't worry as much about what to eat or how much it costs. Today, I went to the market with my mom to buy ingredients for dinner. Watching my mother haggle over every 5 or 10 cents, I see a reflection of myself. Sometimes I wait around 30 minutes at the supermarket just for the discount stickers to come out. I walk around with an empty basket, pretending to shop, then quietly come back to the same shelf. And I'm not always the only one waiting. As soon as the staff starts marking down the food, everything disappears within minutes. Sometimes I wait half an hour and still don't get what I wanted.
all just to save $1 or $2. It might sound like a small amount, but when money is tight, even $1 or $2 matters. And this isn't just something you see at supermarkets. At traditional markets, bargaining is part of everyday life. Some sellers leave a little room in the price because they expect customers to negotiate, while others lower the price themselves to give customers a better deal. For many people, saving a little here and there is simply how you make your money last until the end of the month. My dad has the day off today, so we're having dinner together. My mom bought 6 squid, 2 for each of us.
Mai ăn tiếp, hôm nay ăn đến là từng ngày một ngày như mai.
Đâu nè, họ
We are on our way home. This is my father and his friend. My father is cleaning his beloved truck, an important asset that provides our family's income and helps us pay off our debts. We take good care of it because, in a way, this truck is more than just a vehicle to us. It is part of our family. This is a water pump we use to wash our motorbikes and clean the yard. Even though there's a car wash only about 50 meters from our house, we usually wash our vehicles ourselves to save money. Here, washing a motorbike costs around $2, while washing a truck can cost about $5. It may not seem like much, but when money is tight, every dollar matters. So instead of paying someone else, my father uses this machine to wash our vehicles himself. It takes a little more time and effort, but it helps us cut down on everyday expenses. My mother is buying vegetables from a roadside farmer. A large sack of cabbage costs only about $5 because she is buying it directly from the farm. These are grade 3 vegetables, not the best looking ones, because the highest quality produce is usually sent to the big cities. Tonight, my family's having a very simple Vietnamese dinner. No restaurant, no expensive food, just squid and boiled cabbage.
Sao lúc mua nó to mà nè.
Meals like this are very common in Vietnamese homes. One savory dish, some vegetables, and a pot of hot rice. That's enough for the whole family. And the most important thing isn't what you're eating. It's who is sitting at the table with you. It's been a long time since my whole family sat down and ate together like this. Everyone has their own work, so sometimes having everyone at the same table feels like a luxury.
Từ nó lên chạy xem mình chọn nó đi, nó có ngắt em nè.
Cái gì?
Chọn chuồng như tại.
I really like moments like this. Nobody needs to prepare a huge meal. We just sit down, eat, and talk about our day.
In many Vietnamese families, mothers are the ones who prepare meals for everyone. They remember what each person likes, what they don't eat, and they always try to make sure everyone has enough. Some things feel completely normal when we're young, but as we get older, we start to realize how precious those ordinary moments really are.
Ăn cho đô thôi.
Vâng, ở hộ khẩu nhà chồng là Lộc Lâm, nhớ là chuyển qua Đô, thì nó là Đô.
I used to think we'd always have dinners like this. But as we grew older, everyone started working and dealing with their own problems, and we had less and less time together. And maybe this is what I love most about life in the countryside. Even when life isn't easy, people still try to keep their family meals. To someone else, this might just look like an ordinary dinner. But for me, it's been a long time since I felt this again. My whole family sitting together. After finishing dinner, I helped my mother clean up and prepare food for tomorrow. Any leftover rice will be put back into the electric rice cooker to be kept warm for tomorrow's meal. I brought the motorbike inside the house. And I'm going to take you for a little walk around my neighborhood to show you what life is like in rural Vietnam at night. Around this time, most people are already back home. Families close their doors, have dinner, relax, and get ready for the next day. There aren't many cars passing by, no constant honking, and there aren't many busy restaurants like where I live now. If this were the town center, you'd probably see restaurants, milk tea shops, cafes, and places where people hang out after work. But it's different here. For many families, 7:30 p.m. is already quite late. Farmers often start their day very early, so going to bed early is simply part of this lifestyle. But there's still one place that's awake. It's a small grocery store near my house. In rural areas, small grocery stores like this are really important. You can find many of the everyday things you need here. And because it's one of the only shops still open, people from around the neighborhood come here to buy things. A pack of noodles, a bottle of water, some snacks for the kids. Small things, but they are part of everyday life here. Where I live now, even at 9 or 10 p.m., there are still many people outside. Restaurants, milk tea shops, cafes, and groups of friends hanging out. But here, people don't seem to need many places to go at night. Our nights aren't very exciting. But I think that's also a very real part of life in rural Vietnam. Life doesn't always have to be loud. Sometimes an empty road, one little shop with its lights on, and the sound of insects are enough to tell a story. This is 7:30 p.m. in my hometown. A very ordinary, very quiet life, and probably quite different from what you imagined Vietnam to be.